Not every rescue has a happy ending, but what happened with the 5th bar on the list today is shocking. Meanwhile, here comes another bar which not only crashed, but burned. Plush was a nightclub in Glenside, Pennsylvania, just north of Philly. At first, it was the place to be, trendy, packed, and making serious money. But then, everything fell apart.
You're not the only one that works hard.
I gotta support you. That's what I do.
The owner, Bruno Smoj, actually knew the hospitality business, unlike a lot of bar rescue bar owner. He went all in, even taking out a lien on his grandmother's house to fund the place. His ex-wife, Sherry, helped manage it, and together, they made Plush a hit. But in 2013, Bruno and Sherry got divorced, and when she left, so did the customers.
Sherry was the personality of Plush. And once she left, customers left too.
Since the divorce, Bruno feels like and he's lacking the motivation he needs because he's just getting beaten down.
By the time John Taffer rolled into town, Plush was barely hanging on. The bar was a mess. Bruno was drowning in debt, still owing Sherry money from their divorce, and to make ends meet, he was working in the kitchen himself because he couldn't afford more staff.
Has to go. They all drink too much. It's a joke.
So John did what he does best. He threw the place into total chaos. He invited 200 people to flood the bar at once, making it feel like a packed theater just let out. The result? Absolute disaster. Drinks took forever, bartenders were straight up rude, and customers were even dancing on the stripper poles. And where was Bruno? Hiding. John wasn't having it. And then, things got ugly.
The difference is I won't stand back here and drink. Whoa, I'm hammered. Can't do my job. Somebody better close for me.
John stormed in with Sherry by his side and called Bruno out. Tensions exploded. The next day, John set some new ground rules, starting with one big one: no more drinking behind the bar. Time to get serious.
She's sitting here right now, actually trying to help you. No, she's not trying to help me. She's trying to accuse me like she always does. She said a lot of bull for a long time.
Mia Mastroianni came in to whip the bartenders into shape, teaching them how to make drinks fast. Meanwhile, chef Nick Liberato introduced a brand new menu. John also had a wild idea. He wanted Sherry to work the bar for the stress test. Bruno hated it, but he sucked it up.
It's not gonna work for me. I think it's a dumb idea, to be perfectly honest with you.
So you're telling me you think I'm dumb?
No, I said the idea.
I'm not in a whole $250,000
I
and
said the
failing.
idea of this is not good. Is this creating tension?
When they opened for the stress test, disaster struck once again. Bruno and Sherry barely spoke. Customers waited forever for their drinks. He sat Bruno and Sherry down for a heart-to-heart, hoping to fix their broken communication.
I'll be glad. All right? It's gonna be great. I'm really proud that you got this far, okay? Quality deserves it.
Are you good, buddy?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Then it was time for the big transformation. John and his team gave the place a total makeover, renaming it Osteria Calabria. And for once, Bruno actually loved the new name. The bar got a stunning new look, top-of-the-line POS systems, and of course, a 6-month subscription to Partender, because John Taffer never skips out on that.
No more red sofa! I'm blown away by everything.
The relaunch was a hit. The bartenders were thriving, customers loved the new drinks, and the fresh Italian menu was a huge success. John even admitted this was one of his toughest rescues yet, but in the end, it looked like a win. But was it? At first, yes. Sales jumped over 20%. Bruno finally started paying off his debts to Sherry, and his grandmother's house was saved.
Transformation is amazing. It's somewhere that I would definitely frequent.
The gnocchi is just to die for.
But then, Bruno made a bold move. He ditched the Osteria Calabria name. Let's be real, it's a mouthful. Instead, he rebranded as the OC Bar and Bistro. Not a terrible decision, but then things took a turn. Less than a year after the episode aired, in May 2015, the bar shut down. Not because of bad business, the building was sold. Bruno planned to reopen elsewhere, but it never happened. Plush was officially gone for good. And today, the old Plush location is now a Japanese restaurant called Nagomi, which, unlike Plush, actually has solid Yelp reviews. But Bruno wasn't done yet. In 2016, he teamed up with 2 other people to open Tavern on Pine near the Philmont SEPTA station. Things seemed promising, but guess what? That place shut down too. So in the end, was this a bar rescue success story? Not even close. And here's the kicker: John Taffer's track record in Philly? A big fat 0. Every single Philly area bar he's tried to save closed. Not one survived. Tough break, huh? But here comes a bar tucked away in Staten Island, New York, that had all the makings of a great neighborhood spot, but didn't get anywhere close.
I'm rescuing my wife!
Owned by twin brothers Steve and Eric Winchow, they bought Rhythm and Brews back in 2003 for just $50,000. And at first, business was booming.
Island, and people went insane. I would say on average we were making over $80,000 a month. We were living pretty good.
Average night, I was going home with 250 to 300, maybe 350.
It was insane.
The brothers.
Wanting to keep things in the family, they brought in their younger brother Stu to manage the bar. But that's when things started going south fast. A biker gang rolled in, practically took over, and gave the bar a reputation no one wanted. The once thriving spot was now a hangout for trouble.
Come in behind the bar, they go in the kitchen, they do whatever the hell they want.
They come inside the bar area.
So, who better to call than John Taffer? John comes in with a dream team, bartending expert Kate Gerwin and chef Josh Capon. For recon, they send in Josh's wife, Lori, to get a customer's perspective. She tries to order wine, no luck. So, she goes for a margarita instead. Bad move. It's awful.
Look, there it is. It's two brothers that own this bar. They've owned it for 11 years.
Meanwhile, the biker gang is treating the place like their personal clubhouse. And the kitchen? A total disaster. There's no control, anyone can waltz in and cook whatever they want. Josh decides to test just how bad it is. He walks into the kitchen, makes a pizza, walks out with the pizza in the pan, and no one says a word. John has seen enough. He storms in, lays down the law, and tells the staff to shut the place down immediately. Customers have 5 minutes to get out.
All right, guys, we gotta get out of here.
Honestly, you guys gotta go. You got a lot of people that know me. Just
Then, John sits the owners down with his experts. The food, covered in freezer burn. The service, non-existent. The leadership, completely missing. Kate steps up to teach the staff how to properly taste and serve wine, while John makes it very clear this bar needs to step up now, or it won't be around much longer.
I can't rescue this bar if you guys don't change.
No matter what I do for you, you're gonna fail. Because they're gonna walk on you. And you're gonna bend over again.
During the stress test, the biker gang tries to reclaim their turf, but they're kicked out. That's when Stu, the manager, drops a bombshell he thinks John is overreacting. Seriously? That's when John brings in the brother's father to knock some sense into them. And finally, they get it. They realize if they don't change, they're done.
The matter is, you guys failed because you don't have the confidence to run this place, so you don't even try. Right? I don't want to walk out of here.
No.
I won't attach myself to your failure.
With that, Josh introduces a new menu, and Kate rolls out fresh drinks, including one called the Three Sons Sour as a nod to the family. But John's got one last surprise. The bar is getting a complete overhaul, and with a fresh start comes a fresh name, Fifth and Vine. The once rowdy biker bar is now a sleek, upscale spot designed to attract a better crowd. The upgrades include a high-tech center stage wine system and 3 brand new POS systems courtesy of Revention, because John never leaves a bar without a top-tier POS setup.
That's awesome.
Then comes the relaunch. The staff is finally working as a team. Customers love the drinks, the food is a hit, and the bar is packed with regulars, not a biker gang.
Oh, wow.
this was named after us. This one. That's named after Stu. Thank you.
And the best part? Just 6 weeks later, sales are up 50%. It looks like John pulled off another successful rescue. But would the brothers keep it up? That's the real question. However, while business seemed to be booming, the behind-the-scenes reality was a whole different story. Hygiene and management, not exactly up to par. Things really took a turn in April 2016 when the health department stepped in with an upgraded inspection. And let's just say, it wasn't pretty. Fifth and Vine racked up 61 violations. Yes, 61, including evidence of mice. And not the cute kind. Filth flies buzzing around. No proper hand washing facility near food prep areas. The place is not vermin proof, yikes. A local news outlet even covered the whole ordeal. Now, they did manage to reopen after that nasty health inspection shut down, but unfortunately, the comeback didn't last long. By November 20th, 16, just 2 years after the bar rescue episode aired, Fifth and Vine shut down for good. And considering the timeline, that failed health inspection might have been the final nail in the coffin. After Fifth and Vine closed, a new bar called the GOAT, as in greatest of all time, took over the spot. Sounds promising, right? Well, not so much. By early 2022, that bar had also closed, and the location sat empty for a while. Eventually, it hit the market for $225,000, and a new bar, Cypress Hall, moved in. As for how Fifth and Vine was doing before the closure, it held a 3.5-star rating on Yelp with 26 reviews. Not the worst, but definitely not stellar either. And some of the reviews, pretty awkward. So yeah, Fifth and Vine was not a bar rescue success story. It hung on for a couple of years, post Taffer, which isn't horrible. But this isn't the only bar that didn't have a happy ending. Laguna Lounge sat right in Jersey City, New Jersey, and it was owned by DJ Ivan Arroyo. His dream? To bring his DJ skills and Puerto Rican culture to the nightlife scene. But running a bar is a whole different ballgame, and that's where things started going downhill.
This is all I have. And I don't want to lose it.
Ivan had been in charge since 2008, so by the time Bar Rescue showed up, he'd been at it for 6 years. His 2 sons, Josh and Jeremiah, were supposed to help him run the place, but let's just say, things weren't going smoothly.
Me and my brother can't stand this place anymore. This he does here is what an 18-year-old high school kid does.
Why? Because Ivan was more focused on spinning tracks than keeping the business afloat. Sales were tanking, and to make matters worse, his marriage had fallen apart in 2013. He blamed the bar for the divorce, but his anger didn't stop there. He took it out on his staff.
The bar cost me my marriage.
His sons? They were over it. Josh, who had a business degree, tried to help, but Ivan shot down every idea. Jeremiah, who was studying culinary arts, had potential, but with the way things were going, it looked like that talent would be wasted.
Look at all the shots going on. What do you think, that's for free? Joshua, he could say what he wants. He's not gonna tell me what to do. He's wrong most of the time, not me.
John Taffer wasn't about to let that happen. He rolled in with expert mixologist Lisa Marie Joyce and top chef Anthony Lamas to see just how bad things were. And oh boy, they did not like what they found.
How do you look under green light?
Terrible.
How does your food look under green light? Horrible. That's the one color you shouldn't have, and he has it all over his bar.
For recon, John sent in 4 locals to check the place out. The setup wasn't terrible: a small kitchen, a dance floor, a bar, and a pool table. But the second they ordered drinks, red flags started flying. No pina coladas? Really? And instead of using a soda gun, the bartenders were cracking open warm soda cans. Gross.
Melinda, what is that? Melinda, what are you doing? Melinda, what are you doing?
How embarrassing.
She's overpouring. How does he know?
Then there was the kitchen. Ivan's mom was running the show, but it wasn't pretty. She was reheating food she had already made at home, dropping it into oil that wasn't even hot. If you think that sounds like a health code nightmare, you'd be right.
Sitting in that plastic tub.
Yeah.
So she has them individually wrapped and stacked. You know they're not staying at below 40 degrees.
No, and after about 30 minutes, anybody gets these empanadas, it's not going to be the alcohol that upset them the next morning.
Meanwhile, Ivan was busy handing out free shots like candy, all while treating his staff like garbage. John had seen enough. He stormed into the bar, called out Ivan on his behavior, and made him apologize to his bartender. Then, in classic bar rescue fashion, he shut the place down early for a heart-to-heart with the staff.
Commandante of failure. You want me to save your ass? I go to work tonight. Shut this bar down, get everybody out of here. I want to have a staff meeting.
Get him out.
The next day, it was time for some real talk. Ivan finally admitted he had anger issues, and John didn't hold back. He told Ivan, point blank, that his bar was a disaster, and so was he, both as a DJ and as a bar owner. Tough love? Absolutely. But it was the wake-up call Ivan needed.
Nobody knows.
You gotta put your
Ego aside. There's a resentment here. I think you got to sit down with your sons and humble up. You fix this, and then maybe I'll fix your bar.
John also saw potential, just not in Ivan. His sons, on the other hand, they had a real shot at making this bar work. Jeremiah had culinary skills, and Josh knew business. If they could step up, maybe Bar Rescue wouldn't be for nothing.
Just step up as a manager.
What school are you going to now?
Culinary.
Culinary. I want you to work in the kitchen.
Ivan is underutilized.
Lisa Marie got to work training the bartenders. First order of business? Actually learning how to make a proper pina colada. But there was no room for sloppiness. If anyone overpoured or underpoured, she dumped the drink straight in the sink. Talk about high stakes.
Or if you're underpouring tonight, that's gonna get dumped because you guys have one well. If you guys are getting clustered, everybody has to go to their sides, regroup yourselves, and then you can come back into the bar. All right, let's get the bar ready.
Meanwhile, Anthony was in the kitchen teaching the crew how to make empanadas. Things were starting to look up.
We're gonna grab them together. See how I'm just pinching them together? Yes. We're just gonna drop them right in. Look at this. So let's talk about the plating. Sofrito, which is like the mother salsa.
Then came the stress test. The staff had to prove they could handle a full house, but right away, things fell apart. Drinks took forever even though 5 people were behind the bar. And Ivan, he just stood there, completely useless.
The bar is the most disorganized I have ever seen. Everything is failing.
John was not impressed. He shut the test down early. The problem wasn't just the bartenders, it was the whole system. They needed structure, teamwork, and leadership, none of which they had. But John wasn't giving up yet. He gave the staff another round of training. Lisa Marie introduced new cocktails, while Anthony taught Jeremiah how to make shrimp ceviche. At the same time, John and his team got to work overhauling the bar.
Blanched, then chopped, and been sitting in this little olive oil mixture. We have our little radish and cherry tomato, cucumber, pico de gallo. And what we're gonna do is, we're gonna add our shrimp down, right?
Biggest change? The name. Laguna Lounge was out. Welcome to Tres Cuartos. It wasn't just a new name though. The place got a whole new look, new workstations, and upgraded POS machine.
This looks like a house in Puerto Rico.
When the relaunch night came, the difference was night and day. The staff was finally working as a team, drinks were going out on time, and customers were actually loving their food. For the first time in years, the place had real energy. As the night wrapped up, John gave Ivan one last piece of advice. If he could step up and lead, the bar had a real shot at success. But the real question was, would he? About 6 weeks after John Taffer's visit, things were looking up for Tres Cuartos, food sales had doubled, and drink sales jumped by 20%. Not too bad, right? It seemed like the rescue had put them in a much better spot financially. And as for Ivan, well, he actually had a pretty positive experience on the show. In an interview with NJ.com, he didn't hold back when talking about John Taffer. He's a genius. He's a pain in the ass, but he knows what he's talking about. In a way, we needed that. It was a wake-up call. But here's the twist. Despite all that praise, Ivan wasn't a big fan of the new name that John gave the bar. So after the episode aired, he decided to change it again, this time going with Laguna Shots Bar, a name much closer to the original Laguna Lounge. And then, in August 2017, about 3 years after Taffer's intervention, the bar shut down for good. But not because business was terrible. Turns out, Ivan had a different dream. He wanted to go all in on his music career, and running a bar just wasn't part of that plan anymore. So where is he now? Well, Ivan's still very much in the music scene. He regularly promotes DJ events on his Facebook page and still performs under the name DJ Comandante. Oh, and he's also listed as the CEO of Viva La Musica Entertainment, which I guess is his own business. In the end, Tres Cuartos may not have lasted, but Ivan, he's still spinning the beats and chasing his passion. As of 2025, the old Tres Cuartos Jersey City location is occupied by a catering business called Casa Cubana Catering. The business offers both catering and takeout food, and reviews seem okay with a 4-star rating on its Yelp page. But here comes another bar that didn't stand any chance of redemption. Not in the least. Lickety Split is a bar in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, here's a fun fact. Pennsylvania was the second state to join the union, and trust me, that little detail will matter later.
In law enforcement, I handled everything from robbery, homicide. I got tired of it, and I thought this would be an easier life. Cheers. I cashed in.
The bar is owned by former detective Tom Gaylord. Back when it opened in 2003, Lickety Split was a hotspot in Philly. But over the years, things started going downhill, big time. Tom, struggling with trauma from his days on the force, turned to drinking. And let's just say it wasn't helping the business.
Always gets him in trouble.
Well, they might after you're bigger, but your mind's bigger. No. With this.
Even the bar's own bartender Coco says Tom's drinking has become a major issue, and that's exactly why John Taffer and his crew are stepping in for this bar rescue mission.
Tom is very disrespectful at times.
Tom is an asshole.
To help turn things around, John brings in chef Frank Pinello and bartending expert Phil Wills. But right away, there's a problem. The bar's exterior is not inviting. If people are walking by, they're definitely not stopping in. So, what's the first move? John sends in Frank and a local named Dorothy as undercover spy. Meanwhile, John sits down with Tom's daughter Laura in the SUV to get the inside scoop.
Cover narcotics, all of that.
He bought his bar 11 years ago.
Yep.
And now he's in debt about $110,000?
Exactly.
And how much longer do you think he can keep it open?
And what she reveals? It's not looking good. Tom is drowning in debt, and they barely have enough cash to keep the doors open for a few more months.
He's drinking constantly, stressed out with money. I mean, I have a baby on the way. I want him to be around for his first grandchild.
You can't help your dad anymore.
Then comes the real shocker. There's a drink on the menu called the Pink Vagina. Yeah, John is not having that. He promises it'll be the first thing to go.
Is that a joke?
Nope. It's embarrassing. That was my dad's idea.
Does he think that's funny?
He thinks it's hilarious.
Pink Vagina is the first one to go, buddy.
Dorothy and Frank order a pizza to see how the food holds up. But when will it arrive? It's way too big, super greasy, and just a mess.
Something's got an off smell. Really good pizza usually has nice air pockets and bubbles in it. This is like dense and flat looking, like it's got a funky taste to it. Not too appetizing.
And that's only the beginning, because once John Taffer walks through those doors, things are really about to get intense. Things at Lickety Split were already messy, but upstairs, it was straight up chaos. Tom was out of control, throwing out offensive comments left and right. He even called a bartender white trash. That's when John Taffer had seen enough. He stormed into the bar, ready to put an end to the madness.
Close this bar tonight. You guys are off.
They think I'm aggressive, mean, and if I have something on my mind, I say it. But I will jump in front of a bullet for anybody.
Allie, one of the bartenders, finally had her moment to vent. She was sick of how she was being treated. John made her a promise. He'd help fix the bar, but only if Tom quit drinking. Tom agreed, and just like that, John shut the place down for the night.
Who's the white trash now?
I am. I'm white trash.
The next day, John and his experts got their first real look at Lickety Split's problems, and it was worse than expected. The beer wasn't cold enough, the fridge was barely working, and half the food inside had to be tossed.
This is dough that you're gonna make your pizza with? sitting right next to a ball of raw sausage that's inside a refrigerator that's not up to temp.
What is that? In an open container.
In a dough container.
So it's not covered.
It's absolutely disgusting.
How old is this?
Meanwhile, Chef Frank was teaching the kitchen staff how to make a proper pizza, and mixologist Phil was showing the bartenders how to actually make decent drinks without the offensive names.
There's not going to be any more blue veiny monster or whatever they called it. We're going to take those drinks, we're going to knock them all down, and we're going to create some stuff that are very similar but don't have the offensive names, and actually they're going to taste a lot better.
Phil wasn't feeling too confident about the team pulling it together before the stress test, and honestly, he had every reason to be worried. When the big test kicked off, the upstairs bar was a ghost town, and customers weren't being directed up there. To make things worse, there was no POS system, just a chaotic ticketing system that had the staff struggling. One of the bartenders, Sam, got so overwhelmed that she walked out. Meanwhile, Tom was battling his demons, eyeing a beer, but ultimately choosing water instead.
Sam, where'd you smile, girl?
I don't know.
Drop it?
No, I want to leave.
That's not the attitude we're looking for, boo. Sam, her anxiety is increasing by the moment.
Praised Tom for staying sober during the stress test, but knew more work was needed. He brought in Dr. Eric Levin to help with Tom's PTSD, but Tom wasn't ready to open up yet.
Maybe try something different in terms of coping with them?
I mean, I haven't drank.
Then came the big change. Lickety Split was gone. John rebranded it as Alleged Bar and Pizza downstairs and Second State Lounge upstairs. On relaunch night, the energy was high. Customers loved the changes, the food improved, and Tom stayed sober. As John left, he and Tom hugged. A happy ending? Not quite. It didn't take long for Tom to start pushing back on the changes. He later admitted that he felt coached on how to act for the show, making it seem way more dramatic than it really was. He also hated a lot of John's changes. In fact, the whole alleged bar and pizza concept, gone. He scrapped it almost immediately. But he did keep the Second State Lounge name for the full bar, so at least part of John's vision remained. Slowly but surely, Tom started reverting things back to how they used to be. The ESPN blaring TV made a return, the alleged branding disappeared, and live music and comedy shows were back in full swing. It was like Lickety Split had never really left. And sales? Let's just say it didn't look great. Reviews weren't kind, and Second State Lounge struggled to keep a decent reputation. It only had a 3-star rating on Yelp, and eventually the inevitable happened. It shut down for good. The space was taken over by Milk Boy, another bar with okay reviews, but as for Second State Lounge, it was just another bar rescue case that couldn't stand the test of time. But in this next bar, Taffer heads to extremes in Orange, California. The place is owned by Terry Bryant, a former landscaper who bought the Bikini Sports Bar back in 2003. At first, things were great. He was pulling in around $12,000 a month during peak times. But instead of running the business, Terry got caught up in partying with his friends.
That's for my friends.
Terry will just drink and drink and drink to where it encourages drinking.
He gave away thousands of dollars worth of booze and completely neglected the bar's upkeep, leaving the place with a nasty smell.
That it developed a notorious smell that drove customers away.
It smells like piss in there, dude.
As word got out about the bar's awful odor, customers stopped coming in. On top of that, the staff were fighting over who got to serve the few remaining patrons, desperate to make tips.
Talking about this group, I'm like, they're right.
I literally feel like we're on one team, and I feel like the other girls are on another team.
With business tanking, Terry is now losing $3,000 a month and drowning in $88,000 of debt. John Taffer shows up with his experts, Joseph, a bar manager, and Aaron, a seasoned bar chef. Even though the bar sits on a busy street, it has zero curb appeal. For the recon, John brings in Renee and Brad, owners of Angel's Sports Bar from a previous episode. The second they walk in, they're hit with the awful smell. There's no drink menu, so they each order a Sex on the Beach from different bartenders. They also decide to try the calamari.
Do you have a drink menu?
We do not, no. Sex on the Beach is really good.
Despite the bikini theme, the staff's outfits are all over the place. There's no uniformity at all.
Some of them are half naked, some are wearing torn shorts, some are in bathing suit tops.
When their drinks arrive, it's clear there's no consistency. Each Sex on the Beach looks completely different.
Look at that. So 2 different bartenders made Sex on the Beach.
Then comes the calamari, and it's a mess. Overcooked and barely edible. Renee and Brad talk to Gary, who spills the truth. Terry's giving away so much free booze that it's tanking the bar's profits. Things explode when Terry starts mocking John on camera. Furious, John storms in, gagging at the awful smell, and calls Terry out for being drunk and failing as an owner. The argument gets so intense that John walks out, leaving everyone unsure if he'll return. The next morning, he's back, calling a staff meeting to set things straight. The staff are fed up, customers expect free drinks, costing them their tips.
All the drinks are going to be given out for free, and then people are going to wait for him to order drinks so they don't have to pay.
Terry pushes back when John tells him to stay sober, but deep down, he knows he needs help. Meanwhile, Gary, who's supposed to be helping manage the place, has no real authority. He can't even make decisions like buying a sports package, making things even more chaotic. John and his team take a closer look at the kitchen, and it's disgusting. It hasn't been cleaned in months, with grease and grime built up everywhere. The filth shows just how badly the place has been run.
It's just filthy. Not a week, not a month, for a long ass time.
Joseph checks out the beer taps and is horrified to see how dirty they are. He explains that the foamy beer is due to improper temperature control, which is costing them hundreds of dollars in wasted product. Then John lifts the beer trays and things get even worse. Underneath, there's more filth and a dangerous hole in the floor.
Look at that guy.
In the kitchen, Aaron takes charge and samples the calamari, but it's so bad, he immediately spits it out.
Calamari only comes one way, fried. Tell me what you think, honestly.
That's what I think.
Joseph introduces a metronome to improve beer pour consistency. Meanwhile, John notices tension between veteran and rookie bartenders. The vets feel the newbies aren't taking training seriously. To fix this, he sets up a bar test and introduces Bar Vision to track pours. Despite the changes, customers still complain about a lingering bad smell, and the bartenders remain disengaged. Teamwork continues to fall apart, and when the bar runs out of glassware, Terry does nothing. Things hit a low when a customer finds a rat dropping in his beer, forcing John to shut the place down.
What is that? That's poop.
The next day, John and Terry reflect on everything that's gone wrong. Terry, clearly frustrated, threatens to walk away if John keeps pushing him. He says he wants to turn the bar into a sports spot that attracts men without making women feel unwelcome.
I want to dress you guys a little better and create a sports bar that has what I call approachable sexuality, meaning
Later, John sits down with Terry, who admits he had distanced himself from the bar to focus on his family. With Terry finally engaged, the staff gets trained on the new food and drink menu, all in an effort to level up service and rebuild the bar's reputation. The following day, the bar gets a major facelift. A brand new sports calendar featuring the staff is introduced, along with a full remodel. The place, now called Second Base, has a fresh new look with upgraded TVs, glassware, a shot machine, a turbo tap system, and a full sports package.
Awesome.
They also fix the flooring, get rid of the awful smell, and deck the staff out in new uniforms. On relaunch night, the bar is packed. Service starts off a little slow, but customers are happy with their drinks and food. Terry steps up, pouring pints and helping in the kitchen, showing real leadership. The bartenders handle the rush well, and Bar Vision only catches a few minor overpours.
That is awesome.
When John showed me the Bar Vision numbers, it was the greatest thing to see. They are worlds apart of what they started out as.
Gary jumps in to help in the kitchen, and the whole team finally works together smoothly. The relaunch is a success, and John leaves feeling good about the outcome.
Coming out.
Yes, indeed.
Feel very happy right now because menu is easy and now everything is faster.
A month after the bar rescue makeover, Second Base saw a 20 to 30% boost in sales, and Gary was thriving as the bar manager. But unfortunately, the improvements didn't last. Negative reviews started popping up, complaining about the bad smell returning, poor food quality, rude bartenders, and inconsistent drinks. Then, in November 2013, tragedy struck. A fatal shooting happened in the parking lot, dealing a major blow to the bar's already struggling reputation. By 2015, Second Base was in bad shape again, leading to another visit from Bar Rescue. Turns out, instead of reinvesting in the bar, Terry had been using the profits to pay off his debts, which led to the business falling apart all over again. Some bars made it, others didn't. But in the end, it's all up to the owners. Have you visited any of these bars? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you thought this video was crazy, make sure to check out the next video right here. It's insane.
About your food too?
Kids didn't like it.
I am a great bar owner.
Look at him smiling. He thinks this is fun.
No, I don't.
If you think this is fun, wait till you see me tomorrow.